In 2023, the federal government of Nigeria welcomed the decision by the United Nations to extend Nigeria's continental shelf for 200 nautical miles to 220 nautical miles. At the time, this coincided with the creation of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which will give a boost to the Nigerian maritime economy. This approval allows Nigeria to redraw the territorial map of its sovereignty in the Gulf of Guinea, thereby granting the right to exploit the abundant carbon and marine resources believed to be present in the area. Joining us now on this show to discuss the impact of Nigeria's continental shelf maritime boundary extension in the Gulf of Guinea is Mike Aondoakaa, SAN, a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice. He will also clarify the status of Cross River State as a littoral state, notwithstanding the International Court of Justice ruling, ceding Bakassi to Cameroon, and also shed more light on his governorship ambition. Good morning, Mr. Aondoakaa, SAN. Good to have you on the program. Well,
Good morning, Robert.
Two quick things. I think in 2022, the seaward territory of Nigeria was extended by 16,300 square meters. The enabling law is UNCLOS, and the United Nations approved that. Now, we now have a Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. What have we gained from that extension in terms of, our access to resources within that outward boundary in the Gulf of Guinea, within the purview of UNCLOS that I mentioned? That's the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. And then the second thing that I would like you to discharge very quickly is this story about your gubernatorial ambition. You have been Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Governor. Isn't that too small for you? Having been Chief Law Officer of the Federation.
Thank you very much. Let me start with the issue of the economic gain. The work on this issue of the continental shelf started in 2000, but then President Obasanjo. And in 2007, the President Yar'Adua inherited the work. We find it good, and in 2009, I laid the delegation to present our position, post 1 to sections, Article 76, paragraph 8 of the Law of the Sea. We got no objection from the neighboring countries, and we were able to successfully make the presentation, which I was accompanied with Ambassador Joy Ogu and the DG of the National Boundary Commission. The wisdom behind this was to police our continental shelf, the Gulf of Guinea, and also to enhance the seabed minerals, hydrocarbon and fishing. That was one of the things. But the issue, that time we had a lot of challenges. The challenges resulting from bunkering, and it was very easy for light boats to cross, to go up to 200 nautical miles. And there was a need for us to expand the continental shelf to ensure that those light boats cannot easily go up to what we desired. What we desired at that time was 350 nautical miles. In spite of the approval, there's still room for us to seek more because our presentation was very viable, our presentation was not. So it's a very good thing that the current president took it up and ensured that at least something was expanded. But that is not the total desire we had wished. We had wished to move up to 350 nautical miles. That has been our desire. As I earlier said, the principle benefit is the issue of policing the coastal area. And then the economic gains, which are obvious, the seabed minerals which I've mentioned, harnessing them, especially hydrocarbon, and all these other things that we accrue to us. And of course, it was also something that could mitigate the effect that the Bakassi issue had on Cross River State. And I will not waste your time. At that time, when we were doing the handover of Bakassi to cross to Cameroon, the data we had, I don't think, you see, the Supreme Court decides on the evidence they have, but the data we had, we did not hem out the Calabar estuaries. The reason is simple. From 1971, the Eastern Naval Command was established by General Gawan there. You have heavy equipments, and it was our preparedness to defend our territorial integrity. So there was no, before we handed over, the Navy raised some objection, and we had to practically look at the data. And we look at the data at that time, from the data presented to us, Calabar and the Eastern Naval Command was essentially not hemmed out. And they are not hemmed out because if the Calabar estuaries were hemmed out, then the Naval Command would have been moved away from Calabar to another area because it would have been difficult for them to assist the Atlantic Ocean from the estuaries. And estuaries normally are considered in the law of the sea as part of the coastal area, which you can describe as littoral. So what happened after that? You know, I, as former Attorney General, can never doubt the judgment of the Supreme Court, because judgment of the Supreme Court is based on the evidence they have before them. And also, we acted on the evidence that was given to us. There's no way President Yar'Adua would have authorized the handing over of Bakassi if that was going to affect the Naval Command, the Eastern Naval Command there, especially their readiness to respond to attack. Any friendly nation can become a hostile nation, and there was no way we could have made that sacrifice. At the time we did, Cross River State was still a littoral. Mind you, it's not the entire of Bakassi that was handed over.
But
some part of Bakassi, the western part of Bakassi.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. If you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
I wanted you to talk about this gubernatorial ambition. With all the things you have achieved, you still want to be governor. What are you looking for?
My colleague Ruben, we have not, time for politics has now opened. And I said clearly that when time for politics comes, you are my colleague, I will phone you and tell you, yes, but now I don't want to violate the law. I don't want to violate the law. That is, you see, me and you, we're lawyers, and it's not proper for me to start discussing whether I'm going to contest or I'm not going to contest, or decline that I'm going to contest. I saw in one paper they said I've declined to contest. I don't think that is true. That is not the true position of what I said. I say that every person who, under the Constitution, meets the requirement is entitled to contest when the time comes. And what I said is that there is something worrisome that is coming up from Benue State, because you must have seen, me and you must have been born within the early 60s, but we heard of the riots that were called in Tivland, where people were maimed, killed as a result of political differences. People who in UNBC felt that if you are MPC, you're supposed to be killed. We do not want such a situation. So recently we have been seeing threats coming from community heads that anybody who dares to contest should be beaten up, especially from Kunav area. I'm not from Kunav area, but I do not believe such rhetoric should be said at this time. If we look at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there's no attack he has not received from ADC, but he has never in any way said that anybody aspiring to contest president with him should be dealt with.
All right.
So that is the only advice I say, that such people should caution. I had advised the governor now that he should please talk to his people. We don't want to see what occurred in 1960s to occur in Tivland. For now, that is my comment. I will not comment further as to whether I will contest or not, because I will be violating the law. But I will comment on the issue of the climate, that climate should not be charged, because democracy is about popularity. If you won an election on a very popular vote, you should be able to defend it, not by saying if it's not you, then there will be no bandwidth. That will be indirectly, your supporters will indirectly be announcing that you have lost that popularity, and that should not be the case.
Fair enough.
Anybody who is a leader should not go that way of making the opponents know that he has lost popularity. Rather, he should be saying, I will abide by rule of law, I will follow democratic canons, and I'm popular, I have done things, and I should be able to be re-elected.
All right, I don't think you can hear me. Mr. Aondoakaa, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Aondoakaa?
Hello?
I don't think you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. I've been trying to get your attention. I didn't think you could hear me. But just very quickly, I mean, I thought as a friend of the house, you'd give us an exclusive on that one. But since we respect your decision not to comment further, but I was hoping, and I hope that when you, or if you do decide to run, you'd give Arise the honor of an exclusive first, first information as to announcing or declaring. But that would be interesting to find out. But let's talk about the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, go on. What are you going to say?
Can you be louder, please?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. I was saying that I was hoping that since you're a friend of the house, you would give us the exclusive to break the news if you do decide, or if you've decided on your political future. But we do understand you not wanting to comment further. But in the event that you change your mind, please ensure that Arise is your first port of call to make that announcement.
I will certainly, if I change my mind, I'm a friend of this house, and I will certainly tell you. But you see, there's something I really wanted to dwell on.
Okay.
Because I believe in equity. And I believe that things should be done in such a way that the whole country should be taken together. You see, I have sleepless nights when I handed over Bakassi. And when people insinuate that we took a wrong decision and we endangered the security of this country, I have a duty to come to this forum and clarify that we did not.
All right.
We did not. And if you go to the Surveyor General's office and look at the data again, you will realize that we acted in the interest of this country. You know, President Obasanjo has been a very, very wise person in trying to the Green Tree Agreement and implementation of the Green Tree Agreement. He made sure that the line of demarcation did not adversely affect us as a Nigeria, did not affect our security, do not affect Cross River State. At least they lost something, but not all, from what the practical map I saw. But you see, I left office 2010. I don't know the map that was presented to the Supreme Court. I don't know the facts that were presented that the issue of hemmed out did not arise. But I want to ask a general question. If Cross River was hemmed out, why is the Eastern Naval Command still having its headquarters in Calabar? And what happens to the Calabar estuaries? Are they not part of the littoral state? And is the Navy not assessing the Atlantic Ocean from that? So I don't want anybody to accuse what we did, what the previous President Yaradua did on this issue of Bakassi. If there's a mix-up and there's an error, it's a political decision. The current president can look at the map again. The current president can invite the parties concerned. Even myself, who was a direct participant, we can sit down together, offer what happened.
All right.
because I don't want the name of late President Yar'Adua to be tainted that he took a decision that affected the security of our country. We did not. We did not from our data. But this has nothing to say that I'm challenging the wisdom of the Supreme Court justices. It was the evidence presented to them. There might have been an error in the data presented to them. It's possible. Supreme Court acts on evidence, and it is the evidence presented to them. It is the evidence given to us that we felt Nigeria was adequately protected, and the Cross River was not hemmed out, and the naval, our concern then was the Eastern Naval Command headquarters. It should not be hemmed out, and we never hemmed it out. So if you look at the map from the angle we took, you will realize that certain oilways ought to be in Cross Rivers.
No,
and I say this, if anybody wants to challenge me, let's invite the Surveyor General, let's look at the record.
No,
than insinuating that President Yar'Adua did not take a correct decision. The Army, the Navy themselves resolved this matter with us before we handed over. We couldn't have gone to such careless nature by handing over without closing down the Eastern Naval Command that was established in 1971 by General Gawan as head of state.
But sir, I thought that the matter with regard to the status of Cross River State as a littoral state has already been settled. ICJ judgments, 2 Supreme Court judgments, and
yes. ICJ, you see, Ruben, don't mix the ICJ judgment. I told you something. It has been settled by the Supreme Court in 2012. I have left office by that time. We handed over Bakassi in 2009 or 2008 or 2008, August 14. I am saying by the documents we had at that time, Cross River was not hemmed out because the Eastern Naval Command was there and it ought to be protected. And the Calabar estuaries, if you go and look at the definition of littoral state, estuaries are part of the coastal zone, and they're also treated as a littoral area. So I am saying that the insinuation is that, yes, what happened in 2012 by the Supreme Court is the evidence presented to them. And nobody can fault the decision of the Supreme Court. But I'm saying our government also, nobody can fault us because it was based on the data presented to us and the resolution we had with the Navy. Because the Navy raised objection to Mr. President Yar'Adua, and also raised objection to the National Assembly. So we practically looked at the map, they looked at the judgment of the ICJ, and the line of demarcation was done. And that line of demarcation, the Navy, which was situated in the Eastern Naval Headquarters in Calabar, were not hemmed out. So what took place? I have left office. So I was not part of the argument that went to the Supreme Court. I don't know the data they took to the Supreme Court. But I can tell you that let them go back to the Surveyor General's office and look at the data. Let them go to the Navy that resolved the issue with us that they were not hemmed out and look at the practicality of the issue. Is the Navy, the Eastern Naval Command shut down because we are hemmed out? Calabar is hemmed out? Well, one question, Ruben.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
that is the practicality of the judgment. And if it was that position, then the Eastern Naval Command would have been shut down, and we protected it.
I get your point, sir. Well,
I don't want to go into the dispute of the oilways. I'm not going into the dispute of the oilways. I am going to defend what we did. I'm going to defend the security situation which we protected. I am going to defend on the data we had. Calabar was not hemmed out. And we defended the position and we ensured that the Navy had easy access without going back out to Port Harcourt before they can launch and defend an attack on us. So if you look at that line critically, some few oil ways ought to have remained in Cross River State. After all, if you see the wisdom of Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, it was clear. If Akwa Ibom we followed that, implementation of ICG include equity, political consideration, and technical consideration. These are the three parameters Obasanjo laid as a framework, which we inherit. President Obasanjo, which we inherit. If you look at it, I am not talking of the 72 oils which Supreme Court said they were aimed out. But if you look at 72 oil wells in relation to 2,000 oil wells in Akwa Ibom, it is less than 3%. Yes, thank you. It's less than 3%. So our own was not about the oil. But you are talking of 72 oils, less than 3%. Okay. And if Obasanjo had drawn a line, they should remain in Cross River.
Okay.
We, in our demarcation, we ensured that everything was well protected and well balanced. Okay. And I'm ready anywhere to testify.
Okay. Thank you very much.
To defend President Yaradua.
Well, thank you.
May his soul rest in peace. Thank you, Ruben.
Aondoakaa.
And I admire you and Oseni a lot, and yes, and the pretty lady with you people. I admire you people a lot because you are one of the best in the country. Thank you,
sir. Thank you, sir.